Hello, everyone. IMS welcomes you all to the webinar series, the B School Insider, all you need to know about your dream school. And I'm your host, Kalyani, for this series. So today we will be focusing on SJMSOM IIT Bombay, prep journey, campus life, academics, and placements. And in this, we will be discussing some of the key points, such as the test prep and personal interview experience of the panelists, application process, selection process at SJMSOM, academics, why choose SJMSOM, placements, and a day at the SJMSOM IIT Bombay campus. So we will get some glimpse from the campus. So let's welcome our speakers today. We have Rishika Jain from batch 2024. We have Amartya Thigale from batch 2024. We have Shivang Rastogi, batch 2023. He's a management trainee at Asian Paints. We have Abhishek Das. He's batch 2023, and he's a management consulting analyst at Accenture Strategy. Welcome, all of you, and thank you so much for being here today for this session. So let's start from the beginning. So let's talk very briefly about your CAT score. What was the point where you were struggling during your CAT prep? Any tips regarding that? How did you overcome that? And of course, your undergraduation background, what was it that you studied? And were you having work experience before your MBA? So yeah, so let's start from the current batch. Let's start from Rishika, then Amartya, then Abhishek, then Shivang. Yeah, Rishika.
Thank you, Kalyani, for the introduction. So hello everyone, my name is Rishika Jain. I am from Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, and I have had a work experience of 31 months before joining the institute. So I was working with a company in Bangalore, and it was an engineering services based company. And during my CAT preparation, I remember that I was struggling with VARC a lot because there were some of the questions and some of the RCs which I wasn't able to understand, especially based on sociology or history. So all I did was reading them again and again. Initially, I was not coping up with the space of reading the RC, but towards the end, I was able to manage it.
Any particular tip that you have for any one particular tip regarding your CAT prep?
Okay, so one particular tip that I would like to give to the students is that manage each and every section of the CAT paper every day. Give at least 2 hours for each section, and especially for VARC, just keep on solving the questions every day in your life. For example, if you're doing something, if you're going somewhere, just open some questions in your mobile phone and keep reading the RC, keep reading the question. That will help in the practice.
Okay. All right. Great. Yeah. Amartya.
Hi, Kalyani. Hi, everyone. My name is Amartya. I am also a student of the 24 batch of SOM. I am actually a fresher. I don't have any work experience. So most of my CAT prep was during or right after my third year, which is during my fourth year. My CAT was a very weird one because I was managing my college and the CAT preparation at the same time. Okay. There was no one particular section that I was worried about or was difficult in, but all of them were equally daunting to me, to be honest. Okay. If there is one thing that helped me prepare for my CAT was that I eventually found fun in doing questions that were very difficult to solve. Initially, everyone focuses towards the easy questions so that people get confidence, but it becomes very important towards the last 3-4 months that you take interest in the more difficult questions. When there come questions which you can't solve, you take kind of pride in cracking them one by one. And I think that is the small little thing that helped me get through my preparation.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Abhishek.
Yeah. Hi, Kalani. Thanks for the lovely introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. So, a brief about myself. I actually worked in PwC for 2 years before I ended up joining SJMSOM as an MBA grad. This was actually a plan that I had even during my undergrad. And I'll take a few years experience and then probably join an MBA, which probably will help in the longer run. And it kind of did, actually, I would say. So coming to the CAT prep, and rather before that, I'm a BTech in electrical engineering, just to give everyone a context that I'm also an engineer.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
so moving on, coming to the CAT prep, yes. So for me, the most difficult part of it was actually juggling work and CAT prep together, and also finding out, so-called time to devote strictly to CAT and also manage work simultaneously. And I think a lot of the people who are currently preparing or will be preparing will have similar problems as well. So this was my second attempt at CAT, the previous one being at the last year of my college.
Mm.
So one thing that I would say rather is kind of a tip is that like CAT is not specifically about a syllabus. Like the syllabus is kind of pretty short. You don't have to read through a specific set of things or sort of predefined books or something like that. It's more about practice for me.
Mm.
So what I would rather recommend is giving as many mocks as you can and making sure that you analyze them thoroughly, because at the end of the day, it's the speed and it's the approach. It's how you tackle a problem on that D day, which
Mm.
decides the thing for you. So the more thorough you are with the set of problems, the kind of problems, and how to approach them is what is eventually going to take you through on the day of the exam. So that would be my tip to everyone.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Shivang.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks Kalyani for the warm introduction and welcome. Something about me, I am a computer engineering fresher. I did my computer engineering from Thapa Institute, Patiala.
Okay.
And you might say it work experience or not. I worked at a consulting firm for 12 days, and I got an admit from SJMSOM in the
Okay.
town. So I ended up resigning there. So I had similar plans of
Mm.
like Abhishek. So I'll
Okay.
work for a couple of years, and I'll get into a B school.
Uh,
So about my CAT preparation, the major chunk for me was appearing for mocks. I
mm.
think mocks is the most crucial thing that you can do, because it also helps you to do on the fly preparation and analyzing mocks. Let's
Mm.
suppose you appear for mocks for 2 hours a day, then you should spend at least 3 hours analyzing it. Spending less than 3 hours, you're not doing justice to yourself. So
Mm.
you should see the tips and tricks through those questions. You should ideally see where did you got stuck. You have analytics about what time you took, what time others took on the portals. So I
Mm.
opted for IMS mocks only. So you
Mm.
can analyze that if I'm getting stuck on certain topics. So you will identify these are my weaker areas, and on the day you know what to attempt and what not to attempt. Like Rishika also mentioned in case of VARC. So VARC
Mm.
are about different areas. They are about science, philosophy, history. So some people have a good grip of a certain topic. It's easy to understand and relate. Just
Mm.
identify these broader areas for you, and you'll ace the CAT. Because
Mm.
for me, the bigger challenge in the beginning when I started appearing for mocks was to skim through the entire paper,
Okay.
because somehow it used to happen with me. The questions towards the end were easier. I thought that. So my entire focus on my strategies was to reach the last question in the examination.
Mm.
However,
Mm.
I planned it.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
something about it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about the personal interviews. So also the application process, because there were few questions that were asked by students already, that how the application process is for, and of course after CAT, then what all they have to do. So Rishika, can you take this question? Can you just tell us the application process?
So generally starting in with the application forms.
Hmm.
So they are generally rolled out in November or December. So it depends on the committee. So it is generally rolled out in December, and the students are expected to fill the forms by January last week.
Okay.
And post that, they will be getting the short list based on certain factors. For example, work experience, their 12th marks, and other factors, including their graduation marks as well.
Hmm.
Post that, the interviews are conducted for the shortlisted ones, and a merit list is created based on their personal interview score, their CAT score, and everything. So this is the complete process in short.
Okay. Hey, tell me something. There's a question as well. What are the chances for a non-engineer to get into SJMSOM? Is there anything like that? As in, yeah, we'll be, of course, talking about the selection criteria slightly and all that. But what is it? Is it profile based? Is it like, they prefer people, who are from different background and not really engineers? How does it work? Yeah. Amartya, would you like to take this question?
Yes, sure.
Hmm.
So SJMSOM has a policy of currently at least of
Hmm.
having at least a 4-year degree requirement for joining the
Okay.
course.
So
So
that
that means it is not exclusive to engineers, but it does severely limit down the number of different
correct.
which can join SJMSOM. So we've had some people from design, people
Okay.
law can join in, people with honors degrees, which become more
Hmm.
than 3 years, 4 years can join in. So that is about all the diversity that we have. The maximum
Okay.
number of people we would have would still be from engineering,
Hmm.
and there would be some diversity marks, but that's
Okay.
the basic criteria. If you have a 4-year
Uh,
degree, you can apply to.
4-year degree. So that kind of makes it, of course, more like engineers are more eligible for it naturally because of the 4 years.
It
Okay.
does, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What else? So let's first cover selection criteria itself. So yeah, Abhishek and Shivang, can you guys talk about a little bit more about the selection criteria overall? As in, of course, it will keep changing from time to time, from year to year, slightly, and all that. But overall, as in, if there are some general rules that have been followed usually.
I'll
Yeah.
let Abhishek take
Yeah.
this question because he's
Yeah.
from the admissions team. He's the right person.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Just to add on to the previous part as
Hmm.
well, yes, our policy is limited to 4-year degrees, but we
Hmm.
have this thing that wherein even if you are a 3-year honor student or a 3-year engineering degree or some degree, if you couple it up with, say, some professional certifications or certain master's degree,
Yeah.
then we make you eligible because we consider it to be a cumulative 4 years
Hmm.
instead of just a BTech 4 year. So that is a
Correct.
policy that if someone goes through the eligibility criteria, they would actually find that written over.
Hmm.
So yeah, since I was mentioning this, I would rather
Hmm.
say that yeah, if you have a some professional qualifications like a CA clear, like all levels, or
Yeah.
an FRM or a CFA, the
Hmm.
so-called renowned exams, then
Hmm.
also that also gives you a leverage in the admissions criteria,
Hmm.
at least for the phase 1 or the phase 2. I'm not exactly sure right now. So
Okay. Hmm.
apart from that, also like if someone goes through the eligibility criteria, you will find that there are weightages given to a lot of things, like we have weightages given to gender diversity, we have weightages given to graduation, so
Hmm.
we have weightages given to work ex as well. So I think
Okay.
for SOM, what the thing is, it's a overall profile that we consider
Hmm.
along with the CAT score. So bulk of the
Okay.
weightage is given to CAT score. So it's
Hmm.
not like we demean the fact that someone who has given a good exam on that day, we are overcompensating that in terms of other criteria. So I think it's pretty well balanced in that case. And
Hmm.
if you have a good profile and you have a good exam, I think that is all you need to take you over the shortlist.
Okay. But is there like a weightage is kind of divided, as in SGMSOM gives more weightage to CAT score and personal
Mhm.
interview, or less to
Yes.
your graduation, your boards? How does it work? Like, as in the
Yes,
percentage?
that is exactly the case. In fact,
Huh.
as far as I remember, even during my time,
Hmm.
Rishika would be able to shed some more light
Yeah,
into it.
Rishika and Amartya, yeah, you guys are more recent, so please do
Yes.
pitch in. Yeah, but Abhishek, yeah, please continue.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, as far as my year went by, so we
Hmm.
had actually greater weightages on PI as well as CAT scores,
Okay.
with near about cumulative weightage of around 15 to 20% in all other criteria combined, like which
Okay.
includes gender diversity, work ex, and everything else. So
Hmm.
majority of the chunks were devoted to CAT and the PI.
Okay. Yeah, Rishika, Amartya, you want to add anything else? No. Yeah.
Yeah, so just to be precise, for
Huh.
example, in phase 2, so
Hmm.
this year we had a criteria where we decided to give a weightage of 42%, 42.5%, I guess, to the CAT percentile, as well as
Okay.
to the personal interview, and remaining, I think, 10 to 15% to the candidate's profile, which
Hmm.
includes if the candidate has any national or state level position. So the
Hmm.
marks are given accordingly. to the profile.
Okay.
And the complete information about the weightages and what are the different factors that contributes to the profile are given on the website itself. So it is very transparent, and it is given on our website that what are the percentages that we are considering with each and every factor.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about now the what are the several steps to get into SJMSOM. So first, of course, you take the CAT. Then, if you get the score, then you are called for the interview. So, is there do you have to write an SOP or not? What all are the steps? Is there like a direct personal interview, or is there a GD as well along with it? So how does it work? And also you all can please take your talk about your own experience as well, and maybe one tip each. So let's start again from the current batch. Amartya, you can start, then Rishika, then Shivang, then Abhishek. Yeah, Amartya.
Well, for the most recent batch, I think Rishika will be able to give you a better idea. Since she's also from the admissions committee. But as far as my experience went, the admission process that happens for SJMSOM is a very different one than it happens for most of the other colleges. There's this platform called Gather, which is essentially an online platform where you have your own character and you can move in between an online auditorium that goes between different rooms. You can interact with other people, with the management team, the admissions committee, and you can give your interviews online as well. I'm not aware if it will be the same next year, because since we gave our interview during the COVID times and it had to be online, this method was adopted, but it might change again, subject to what Rishika confirms here. But my interview was really good. The reason that I say so is because the faculties at SJMSOM were the ones which took our interviews, along with a few alums that came.
So how many people were there on the panel?
In my panel, there were 3 people. I believe it was 1 faculty and 2 alums. And most of the questions revolved around my not just academics, but also my extracurriculars. They wanted to know what kind of a person I was, how I would like to give back to society, and most importantly, about 5 to 10 minutes of my interview was about how I would like to give back to the society if I were to reach my goals in the future. So the interview would be heavily revolving around what kind of a person you are and what your goals are towards the later stages of your life. And by understanding the kind of person you are, they try to judge your character in addition to your merit.
Okay. Yeah, Rishika.
So after the first shortlist, you are directly moved to the interviews, and then a final merit list. So there is no GD in the process.
For now, we are talking about personal interview then is the next step. So when does this happen? What Amartya was talking about?
Yes. So once the shortlist based on your profile, academics and everything that is out, personal interviews are scheduled for each and every candidate. Okay. Now there is a platform called Gather, which is, for example, a virtual college tour we create for the students. It is kind of an experience on a platform where you have a character, an avatar, and you can control it, for example, like a video game. And you can move to different auditoriums, you can move to different game rooms, and there are different interview panels as well. So each and every student is in a panel of around 10 to 15 students. And they are provided with 1 volunteer from the current batch who will be helping them to throughout the interview and the process. So basically, there is a room and there you have 15 students and you are waiting for your turn. So each and every candidate can talk within themselves and interact and how their other experiences are. And that 1 volunteer from the current batch will be guiding them through the process, to the interview, to the document verification and everything. So it's like it's like an interactive platform for a good interview experience, I would say. And about my interview experience, I had 2 people in the panel. One was faculty and one was alum. And my interview revolved around my work experience as well as my hobbies. So I would say rather 50% of my interview was on my hobby. So this is just one tip for the students. Don't only concentrate on your work experience or your acads, but also enhance your hobbies and let them know that how you have evolved, learning from those hobbies and what you currently do with them. Because people are generally interested in knowing about you and what you do with your curriculars as well.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Any other tip? Okay. Rishika, can you give a tip also for the CAT aspirants, like, who will be filling up the forms and all that? And is there any tips for that, as in what all they should keep in mind when they're filling up the SJMSOM form, application form? Yeah.
Okay, so it is just a basic form with basic information,
Okay.
and there is one section where you need to, I think, if I remember correctly, there are certain questions, for example, 2-3 questions where you have to answer why you want to do MBA and why you want to join this particular college and which domain and why. So all those things, it's all about being genuine. Like if you want to do MBA, there is a certain reason behind it, and you have to show why you want to do MBA, and that passion for MBA should be reflected in your words. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, Abhishek, you want to add anything to that? The application tip?
No, I think Rishika covered it entirely. We don't have a very complicated structure in the application form itself. Basic questions are in there. It's more or less, in the SOP format itself. Like you just have to be here and just portray whatever you want to actually do in that same form itself. And of course, be very wary to fill genuine information, because we have personally also observed that people find it difficult to convert percentiles to percentages, or some difficulties like that. Nothing else apart from that. It's not at all complicated in that regard.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Shivang, your personal experience, your PI experience.
So during that time, I was working as a financial markets analyst in the area of futures and options.
Okay.
So I was asked questions about that. So that was my internship during my final year of engineering.
Okay.
So in the application form itself, there's an option to choose which domain are you looking forward to, like which is your interest domain. So I chose finance as an option.
Okay.
So one tip, the panelists basically are from the domain you are selecting there.
Oh, okay.
So they won't be random. So the panelists usually consist of an IIT Bombay professor, which means the BTech professor, an SJMSOM professor, the ones who will teach you in future if you get selected, and one alumni. Usual structure of the panel, but there can be sometimes 2 alumni, 1 professor. It keeps on varying. So for me, it was 2 alumni and 1 SJMSOM professor. He ended up teaching me finance itself. That's when I got to know that he's a faculty from finance.
Okay.
And even the alumni were from the finance background.
Okay.
So I was asked questions about the internship I was doing, the basic questions around the technical analysis of financial markets, what all strategies I was working on, which markets do I work on. So, and the other questions was around my engineering, or the final year project I did, which was, so it's an year-long project. So they asked questions around that. So one thing I found different about this process was it's very relevant, I would say. So people struggle a lot of times in PI processes when they're asked questions about geography, history, civics, which isn't related to their profile per se. Okay, it's something under the sky. You should know that, but that isn't specific to you. PI at SJMSOM was very specific to me. There was nothing that was not related to me which was asked to me, either about my projects, my hobbies, or the internship I was doing, and what kind of future plans I have.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Abhishek.
Yeah, actually, for me, the interview experience was a bit different than the rest. I would say so because mine majorly revolved around academics and work experience. So the thing is, what they rather digged deep into. So firstly, my panel consisted of, I guess, 2 alums and 1 professor from SJMSOM itself. Yeah, so while the professor dig deep into my BTech degree, which often a lot of people don't expect if you have work ex. But I think that in our case, they should be well versed with it, because they actually ask you questions not just relevant to it, but at least 1-2 layers deep as well, which was my case. So you never know which panel you'll end up with and how the professor is, right? It's difficult to anticipate that. No one can do that. So you have to be prepared as much as you can. So yeah, there were questions on that line. Apart from that, the alum who was also from a consulting background, and my experience was in PwC, my work ex. Prior to MBA. So that is basically what stimulated a conversation between the alum. And the alum
Hmm.
dig deep into understanding that even after having a work-ex in a consulting domain, why I was inclined into an MBA and not move through the ladders of that consulting space itself.
Right.
So they
Hmm.
actually, from what I understood, I would like how Amartya mentioned that his interview went quite well.
Hmm.
I was quite opposite when I came out of the interview panel because I personally
Okay.
felt my interview didn't go too well. But what I
Hmm.
realized later after giving a lot of interviews and personally being in the admissions team as well, is the fact that you should not be you're not a good judge of how they are thinking. Number
Correct.
one, because it's
Hmm.
very subjective. They can actually
Hmm.
try to take stress interviews. They can actually not give away their actual emotions or feelings as to how they feel and perceive about you. So
Yeah.
that's one thing, and they all they want is clarity. Like what they
Hmm.
want is your thought process is clear as to why you are coming here. Your CV, your background sticks out, your story sticks out, and what you're
Correct.
saying is not just a made up thing, and it's something very genuine. So
Hmm.
as long as you have that and you're well prepared with the technical part of it, the academics part of it, what you did in your work, I think you should be doing good in the interviews as well. So that was my experience.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about academics then. So in from let's start first from the clubs and committees, and then we will talk about the classes and the all that. So yeah. So how vibrant, how active are the clubs and committees at SJMSOM? How many are there and all that? You know, who all? I mean, maybe Rishika and Amartya, you guys can answer this question. And also, of course, you know, Rishika, which one are you part of? Amartya, which one are you part of? And then, of course, you know, Abhishek and Shivang, please tell us also about your clubs and committees that you were members of. And yeah, and are you still active there? As in, you know, once you know you have graduated and all that. Yeah, tell us all about that. Yeah, okay, Rishika.
Okay, so as I think Amartya mentioned and Abhishek
Huh,
also mentioned, I'm a part of admissions team here.
huh,
So
yeah. So if you are part of admission team, then you cannot be part of anything else, is it?
no,
Or
it's not like that.
okay.
But admissions team and placement team are two teams and two committees which require a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work
Yes,
for the
yeah.
students, and it requires your time to be invested. And
Okay.
once all these things are done, for example, right now the admissions are closed and everything is done, and we
Hmm.
don't have any more work for admissions.
Hmm.
So I can take part in any other committee. I can work with other teams as well if I'm interested in that. For example, currently I'm working with Cultural Council of the
Hmm.
institute.
Okay.
So it's not like that I'm limited to any one committee, but it's about the time and the work that is expected out of me.
Hmm.
Apart from that, I would like to mention that SJMSOM is a completely student-driven institute. For example,
Okay.
starting from admissions to the placements, organizing any kind of event, the business events and everything. Everything is driven by the students here.
Okay.
And all the committees here, we have around 10 to 11 teams, the committees. They are all very active in organizing things time to time.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Amartya, tell us a little bit more about all the different clubs and committees are there, and which one are you part of? Hmm.
Sure. So at SJMSOM, we have a lot of clubs and
Hmm.
committees. So there are specific clubs for each and every domain. For example, a club dealing with the operations domain, a club dealing with finance domain, two clubs dealing with product management domains,
Okay.
and so much more.
Hmm.
Then aside from that, we have the sports council, the cultural council, the admission and placement teams, then the alumni relations team, the international relations team, which we will come to when we come to Shivang and
Hmm.
others.
Yeah.
Personally, I am a part of both the cultural council as well as the sports council of my college.
Okay.
I like to take part in both the cultural and sports side of things.
Hmm.
But the most important and interesting thing that I found out after I joined here is that you're not only limited to the clubs and chapters that SJMSOM provides to you, but you can also become part of the clubs and teams at an IIT Bombay level and
Okay.
try to
Yeah, I
make
wanted to ask that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That how much of that IIT Bombay is part of the SJMSOM? Yeah, the you know how much of IIT Bombay plays a role in SJMSOM, even from the academics and all overall from the campus point of view? Yeah, if you
Well,
guys can also keep adding that. Yeah.
yeah, so it actually plays a very big part. For example, I'm
Mm.
also part of the PhD culturals for the IIT Bombay Institute overall.
Okay.
And as we talk about academics, there is also a small part that we don't have a trimester like most
Mm.
other B schools do.
Mm.
We have 4 terms in a year to cover up
Mm.
the 2 semesters and be in accordance with the IIT Bombay timetable.
Okay. All right.
So yes,
Okay.
you can be a part of the IITB clubs and teams as well.
Okay. Yeah. Abhishek, you were part of the admissions committee, right? Yeah. And Abhishek, also now that you are a recent graduate,
Mhm.
are you still in touch with the same, as in how does it work? Like once you are out of the B school, are you like
Uh, no,
yeah,
it's
not
quite the contrary actually.
mm,
Rishika is well aware of that.
mm.
We are pretty much in touch with the
Oh,
current
okay.
admissions teams as well.
Oh.
The clear reason being, especially if you consider certain teams, committees
Mm,
for that matter, there's a specific structure. There are a lot of procedures that you need to follow, right? So there might be certain issues that people who are after my batch encounter. So we act as that point of contact to try and clarify those doubts. Even
mm,
if not considering these things, we are regularly in contact just to understand how things are going on. How was the admission process? Whether it was very different than what it was last year? Because at the end, it's
mm,
our alma mater, so we never lose touch in that regard.
mm.
You're constantly in contact. For people in Mumbai like myself, I have visited the campus also once or twice in between as well.
Okay.
So yeah, the
Mm,
contact never loses for that matter.
mm. Oh,
So
yeah.
regarding the clubs and committees, as Amartya mentioned, you can actually participate on an IIT Bombay scale or an SJMSOM scale as well.
Okay.
Both depending on how you want to prioritize. Like for people who actually want to prioritize their academics more, they
Mm.
can just be involved in say one committee in the SJMSOM level. For people who want to
Correct.
do everything and explore and rather leverage the so-called IIT ecosystem,
Mm.
they can actually rather participate in anything and everything they want to and try their hands upon anything for that matter. So, for
Okay.
example, I was a chess enthusiast. I never
Mm.
participated in anything for that matter, but in IIT itself, I have participated in IIT Bombay's events. I have participated in PG, like postgraduate events within IIT.
Okay.
I have participated in events which are held by different B schools. I've been to Pune, I've been to other B schools to participate in these events. So yeah, that's just a glimpse of what you can do. There are IIT Bombay, actually flaunts a huge sports infrastructure,
Mm.
a very good infrastructure to leverage anything and everything you want.
Mm.
Squash, tennis, anything. If you want to try your hands upon that, and it's all
Mm.
free to us as well. Like there's no such something that is holding you back. So it's
Mm.
a great culture that we have there. So if you
Okay.
ever want to leverage that out as well, you can do that. So
Mm. Okay. Yeah, Shivang.
Yeah. So I was heading the alumni team
Mm.
last year till last year, I think.
Mm.
So I am still with touch with a couple of people from the alumni team itself, from the junior
Mm.
batch.
Mm.
And since we have central groups, so the entire alumni team from I think 15 years, it's still in touch. So we keep
Mm.
on giving our suggestions that
Okay.
what all needs to be done, what all can be done. And
Mm.
these constant interactions with me and the current team keep on happening because, like Abhishek mentioned, there are a couple of procedures that they might need clarification on. And
Mm.
since it's our alma mater, we feel that this can be changed, or we can pick up some initiative in a particular area. So we
Mm.
keep on having discussions about that with the current team or the previous team. Someone can simply put up a query on the group. I need help with XYZ.
Right.
So there are people to help you out. That being said, joining clubs and teams within SOM and even at the IIT Bombay level, it depends on how proactive you are as an individual.
Mm.
You have 24 hours a day. You can utilize them very well if you want to
Mm.
utilize them when you join SJMSOM, because this is just one department of this huge campus, I would say.
Okay.
And there are at least 15 departments like these.
Mm.
So you
Okay.
can participate in other departments even. And this batch size being what, 110, 115 usually for
Mm.
SJMSOM.
Mm. Mm.
So you can be a part of the activities of any clubs. You can help out your friends,
Okay.
let alone you think about. So me, I participated in events of admissions process. I think Amartya and everyone would have done that. So
Okay.
we participate, and it's a good place because small batch size helps. It helps you to make good bonds, interact with people, and also boost up your knowledge because you're not really constrained by being selected or rejected by something. One time
Correct.
people, what selection, what rejection. Everyone can be a part of anything.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about like the subjects. When you select the electives, is it the second year, right? For at SJMSOM, how is it bidding? How do you select? What's the process like? And of course, also please talk about why SJMSOM is quite known for case studies, and a lot of industry experts are coming in almost every week or something. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Amartya and Rishika, can you guys take this? And Abhishek and Shivang, can you please pitch in? Yeah. Amartya, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. Yes, there are a lot of so to answer one of your questions, there are a lot of industry experts that come join our college. We have this very nice leadership talk series going on called the Diksha series, through which there are industry experts from each and every field who are called to share their experience, and they might not be our alums per se. Like anyone with enough knowledge that we feel is going to add to the knowledge of our batch is called. They're welcomed. All of us go attend those series. We ask them a lot of questions. So there's a lot of interaction going on there as well. And aside from that, we have multiple events that happen on the IIT Bombay level as well. So I remember just last year, Nitin Gadkari sir came to meet us specifically through the School of Management, whereas from the IITB level, a lot of different Bollywood stars and social media celebrities, all of them just keep coming and interacting with a bunch of students. So there's a lot of interaction that goes on an industry scale for that.
Yeah, Rishika, can you please talk about the academics bit in the sense, is it like if it is case study, how does it, is it SJMSOM follows case study approach, is it? And also, how does it help? And how is it different from the other B schools? You can generally, just a basic difference if you can point out. And when you select the electives and all that, how is the process? Yeah.
Okay, so the pedagogy here that is followed is based on case studies. You are right. And what I think about is it is a very interesting approach to learn any concept, because the case studies are basically from Harvard Business School, and they have real life problems related to certain companies. And when we read about those problems, we instantly think what should be the actions that can the company take. And this, I think, is a very important learning that we get in MBA, because we will be facing such problems in the future as well.
Right.
So case studies plays a major role in our learning. And talking about the electives, we choose our electives in second year. And this year we had a bidding process where we were given certain points and we had to bid on our favorite subjects or the preferable subjects. So as I am an operational enthusiast, so I chose subjects related to operations, also some subjects related to marketing, because I find it interesting. So this is the overall process, and academics, I think, is just as same as any other B school. The approach, the case studies, the faculties here, they are also industry experts, so they share their experience as well, their real life problems as well. So it is a very engaging and interactive classes that we have here.
Okay, Amartya, what are the electives that you have chosen?
Well, I have also gone for majority of the operations electives and a little bit of economics, because I am interested in that. So a few economics courses as well. Although I am planning of picking up a few finance subjects towards the last 2 terms, just to add to my knowledge. Yeah.
Okay. What about the foreign exchange program? Is there is there foreign exchange semester at SJMSOM? Who can take? Shivang or Abhishek? Do you guys want to take it?
Yeah. So there is a provision of foreign exchange. It's not mandatory for everyone. The people who want to opt in, they can go for different schools abroad. So from what I remember, at our time there were options in three countries majorly. One was in Belgium, the other one was in Turkey, and there
Hmm.
was one more in Norway. So you can opt for it, and it's a 6-month long in the last semester post placement, post the final placements.
Okay.
So whosoever wants to join, they can go
So,
for it. And there are exchange
yeah, none
students
of
from
you
other
have
colleges.
gone. Yeah, Abhishek, Shivang, you guys have not. None of,
No.
of course, Abhishek, you were in the admissions. Yes, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, you can't. I think placements and admissions people can barely move. Yeah, anywhere else. Yeah,
I think
but huh?
just to add
Yeah,
one more,
yeah. Yes,
there
please.
are two aspects to this,
Hey,
so-called.
how do you select? And is there people who would like to go but they get rejected? Does that also happen? Yeah.
It might happen, but it's generally not the case here. And the reason I want to highlight is something that Shivang was stressing upon is because of the lower batch size. The thing is, since it's a lower batch size, so we have that capacity to accommodate almost everyone who wants to. So we have not, at least as far as I remember, faced issues where we had to reject someone to, opt out of some process. The one aspect of this is we have two areas. One is summer school, one is semester exchange. So the summer school happens just after your internships are over, summer internships are over. So it's a 2-week program, which is also in near about 3 places covering both Belgium, London, and Turkey, even I guess. So the so-called international relations team of our college currently, approach these colleges and keep changing that also based on requirements, try to update themselves, keep bringing in more colleges as well. So yeah, there are two approaches. One is an entire semester long program. One is just a 2-week long summer school program. So depending on wherever you want to go, how much time you want to invest, you can actually choose that. So rest to Shivang already covered anyway. Whatever.
So how hectic is a day at SJMSOM? Vishika, would you like to take it? How hectic in the sense, like, how's one particular day, a typical day, how does it go? How busy, how hectic, how much time do you get for yourself, as in to pursue your hobbies and all? Yeah.
Okay. So in the initial phase of the first year, I think it is very hectic
First year
for
is
each
for
and
everybody.
yes, it's very hectic for everyone, for
Hmm.
each of us, because there are multiple activities that are going on. For example, the placement activities, the academics. So we don't get much time to concentrate on ourselves. But once our internships are done and we are into the second year, it's pretty much chill, and I think it depends on the individual how many activities they have participated in and gotten into. For example, as Amartya mentioned, I'm also into PG cards. So we recently had an event here, and we were the organizing committee. So at that time also there was not much time that I was able to give into myself, but I was into the organizing team of PG Cult, and I am into the organizing team of SOM events as well. So it depends on the individual how many activities you want to be involved into.
Okay. So let's now talk about the internships and placements. So in internships, let's talk first about the internship process. Where does it start? Of course, I think, it starts at day 0, I believe. So please talk about the internship process. And Abhishek and Shivang, you guys will talk about the placement process. And of course, if it's a PPO, then, you can take your personal journey from internship to placement, how it worked and all that. Yeah, and Abhishek, please talk about the placement experience and all that. So first, Amartya, can you talk about, or who would like to take, Rishika or Amartya, the internship process? Amartya? Yeah.
I would like to tell you
Sure.
that the internship process, summer internship process at least, is very, very hectic on the students, as it is for most B schools. It's not a problem. Yes, you're right. It starts at day 0. There are a few case competitions which offer pre-placement interviews, which might happen before. But
the case competitions, these are also happening around the same time as
around the
the
same
summer
time.
internship. Okay.
Yeah, let's say about a month and a half before and after the placement season. So you can get pre-placement interviews through the case competitions as well. If you do well, if you progress through the rounds, they will ask you for a placement interview. It starts from day 0, and we here at SOM have a very good culture regarding the placement process, at least, wherein everyone is helping each other out, supporting each other with preparation, with interviews and everything. Even during the placement process, we are all there in one auditorium, helping each other, giving each other morale as to go and give good interviews and get selected. Placement companies then come one by one. The placement team helps us attend those interviews, and then later on we figure out if we've been placed or not. Some companies might have some tests which need to be given before their interview process, and some straight up go for the interview rounds. Majority of the companies have 1 or 2 interviews, although a few companies might have group discussions or even 3 or 4 sets of rounds of interviews for the different candidates. So it really depends from person to person. But generally, the day process lasts for about 4 or 5 days, and about during that time, most of for us, all people get placed, and then after that, there is some celebrations that.
Okay. Yeah, but tell me something. If someone's internship is not going that well, and they want to sit for the placements as well, does it have an effect in the final placement for that person? Abhishek, can you take this? If the internship was not that great, and if that person was also not very excited about it as such.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in my, I mean, it's relatable somewhat to me as well. Like, for
Okay.
example, once someone enters the college, some people have a clarity about where they want to be in, for both the SIPs and the finals, right?
Yeah.
And some people have preferences. Like, if you're a fresher or whosoever you are for that matter, you have preferences. This is where I want to be, certain goal. So my initial preference, or even now, I would say that I preferred consulting to be my top preference. I'm based on my CVs as well, and based on what my line of interest as well. So that's what I had figured out very initial in the initial terms as well. And then later on, I was like, okay, in the second, third priority, I can have operations or that matter marketing as well. I landed up an internship in operations in March really. So I did my internship there, and I did not end up getting a PPO for that matter. So that kind of is relatable in that case, but it really does not affect your finals. The reason I would say so is because as long as you have something credible backing your internship experience and what you did there, and how you use that to probably do better in the company that you're applying for during finals, is what probably boosts you and gives you a leverage over the others and differentiates you as well. Like, since I mentioned I had an operations internship and I also had a consulting background, and if I couple them up, I'm currently in operations consulting in Accenture. So that is precisely what I want to tell everyone, the audience as well. Like, you should not be demoralized by where you landed up in an internship. Just give your best. Give it your best shot. Make sure that you deliver a credible thing in your internship, and just don't be like, I did not get a good experience, and so I don't want to work hard for it. Do good in it, because it's eventually going to help you in the finals in ways that even you are not aware of. And which was precisely my case. I mean, both of the experiences kind of helped me a lot to land up where I am right now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Rishika, can you talk about your internship bit as much as you can share, that is? Yeah.
Okay. So as Amartya mentioned that we have certain case competitions organized by the companies where they give us the PPIs, and I got selected to the PPI itself. Yeah. So I interned with Flipkart. And during my work experience, it was very enriching with projects and the knowledge that it has provided me. So it was a very good experience with the company. And regarding the process, yes, it is hectic for everyone, because there are 4 to 5 days which you have to give your best and get selected for any one of the company. And yeah, I think that's all.
Okay. What was the domain?
So operations, supply chain.
Okay, supply chain operations. Okay. Yeah, Shivang, your experience from internship to, since you were PPO'd, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the internship experience, I got interned at Asian Paints and in the systems domain. So systems is equivalent of IT there.
Okay.
So I worked there for 8 weeks. The overall experience was pretty good. This is one of the reasons I decided that I want a PPO there. And secondly, you get a good amount of support from your college. So the projects I worked on 3 projects overall during my internship. In 2 of them, I required some sort of, I would say, domain understanding or benchmarking support. So I was supported by the alumni team and the alumni as well to connect with the relevant folks, to talk to various people. And so you can also reach out to people who are in Asian Paints or in other companies from your own alma mater. So they also support you and try to guide you in whichever area you're stuck. So that, and the PPO was rolled out pretty early. I think for me, it was rolled out somewhere in July. So for the next 1 year for me was really fun.
Yeah.
Broadly at SJMSOM, I think one thing that I always feel is different from other B schools, the academic life is not that rigorous. It's not that rigorous. The faculties also understand that there is an important bit called the business understanding or the case competitions. You will always have that, except from the internship bit. The first 2-3 months, I would say, it's pretty hectic because you have your academics, you have your internship placements going on. But once you're an intern, post that, I think it's pretty easy going. You can figure out what you're interested in. You can pursue that along with your cultural activities, sports. I remember playing football every other night with Amartya when I was in second year. These guys were in first year. So it was a daily activity and everyone used to pursue their interests. So it's pretty chill.
But tell me something, if somebody gets a PPO and they would not like to pursue it, can they say no and can they sit for the final placement? Is there a
at whichever company you're working on. So that's the kind of rapport you've built with your reporting managers.
Correct. Okay.
If you do not want a particular offer, you can have that discussion with them. You can let them know your area of interest. But one thing, like Abhishek mentioned, whichever company, whichever domain role you get interned in, do well there, because it will help you. You'll not realize it now, but the moment you sit for final placements and they start asking you questions, what did you do, how did you solve this problem, what else if it's not genuine, you'll not make it. It's not necessary you're sitting for a consulting company and you got interned in a company that was offering maybe a marketing role. They ask you about that. They just want to know what's your work ethic and your understanding, your problem solving. So grow with that.
To me, Abhishek, can you talk about the placement process overall, like the general steps? Very briefly.
So for the final placement process, what I would say is that once the so-called summer internship processes are over, post which the finals start for the next year batch. So like the summer interns are for the first year batches, whereas the finals is the second year. The second year batch finals just start post the SIP's placements are over. So probably the timeline for us would be near about starting around October to November. It varies depending on how the placement team takes up. So yeah, that's how it starts, and the process is kind of similar to SIPs with minor differences here and there. Like in the what I observe personally can vary also. So what happened during the SIP is that you have certain rounds which are, might be aptitude rounds, might be certain tests that you need to give. However, in the finals, a lot of companies are often CV-based shortlists, offer CV-based shortlists. So apart from that, some companies also have, who ask you to present certain decks. Like they give you a business problem which they want to present a deck, and that acts as a filter for the interviews, final interviews that happens, second round, you might call so. So yeah, the process, or rather the rounds, might differ a bit as compared to SIPs. But apart from that, it's pretty much a similar process to how SIPs are. We get into one setting in an auditorium. Companies, majorly currently post-COVID, it's offline. I personally gave an online interview because it's currently also hybrid, depending on the companies as well.
Correct. Yeah.
It's their choice. If they want to actually visit our campus and schedule face-to-face interviews, that's up to them. We as a whole, as a college, do not restrict any or do not restrain it to just online or offline. It can be anything depending on the company and what their processes are. So
so in your case, were you given any particular, like an assignment, like a case or a deck you had to prepare?
Not really. For my interview,
yours was more like a CV thing that you did PwC and all that. Was that?
Yes. So I think for the company, for Accenture itself, where I got placed in, that company itself gave a shortlist based process. So that was their criteria. Again, that also might or might not differ next year based on how they want to take it up. So the year that I was in, they actually gave a CV-based shortlist, post which there were interviews, 2 rounds of interviews, and post which there were result declarations. So not a huge, extensive process, but a process that, of course, dig deep into your profile, your CV, and whatever you have done in your internship and in the past as well.
Okay, so they are asking you then questions about what you did during the internship and all that. You know how
Of
much.
course.
Okay. And in your case, they also went back to your
Yes.
working
So, I
days.
mean,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think of what in my case was that since they actually offered CV-based shortlists, they focused a lot on what you have done. Of course, apart from the consulting technical part of it, where everybody is aware probably that guesstimates and cases are a thing. Apart from that, they actually digged a lot into the CV part of it, and whether you have done credible thing and whatever you have written, it should be authentic. Like because they have a means to recognize it. If you have written some quantifiable parameter in your CV, I was constantly asked, how did you actually end up achieving it? So yeah, it was actually drilled a bit on that.
All right. Okay. Yeah. There's a question. I think Shivang, you can take it. Can you talk more about the capital markets opportunities in IIT Bombay?
Again, I'll come to the smaller batch size.
Uh-huh.
So the batch size being small, I have seen people get into all the areas from except HR. So I have friends who got placed in finance, marketing, IT, operations, and a consulting bit of every small bit, and analytics as well. So yes, there were people who got placed into finance, but being the smaller batch, the count is not more than 10. So the chunk is small, and the opportunities are there. A few of them are in capital markets. A few of them are also in risk analysis. So it depends, and it also depends on the kind of offers that come onto campus.
Correct. Okay.
But the majority is in supply chain and IT.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, because I also saw, most of you, Rishika, and all of you were talking about operations. So I think that that's the domain that's been majorly in focus even during recruitment. Is it? Abhishek, Shivang, you can just
see
the trend so far. Yeah, because
so
obviously
the
you cannot.
trend so far is a bit dominant on the IT and supply chain side. In terms of and this is also because the interest of folks. So me being a computer engineer, I had an inclination towards IT. So there are a couple of computer engineers, couple of people who have IT work experience. But from what I remember, the hardcore marketing enthusiasts and the finance enthusiasts are in those areas. They maybe through internships or through final placements, they ended up in the kind of roles they want. So the number of finance enthusiasts were in the batch was really less. That was very evident when it comes to finance electives, because not a lot of people in those lectures, 10, 15 hardly. So they end up in the areas of their interest. But yes, compared to the overall opportunities, the opportunities for marketing and finance are relatively less.
Okay. There's a question about what about general management roles and placements? Yeah, Abhishek? Sure.
Yeah, I think even in our year, quite a few people actually got into general management roles as well in companies like Reliance and different other companies as well. I think, when we talk about placements, as Shivang very well mentioned, one of the factors is your batch profile. So when you opt for placements, companies also take a look at what the batch profile looks like, and then they also come to visit the campus. So if the batch is more having an experience that is inclined towards, say, IT consulting, or operations, it kind of gets skewed towards that as well. But having said that, I feel one other factor is, of course, the market conditions as well, which depends whether the roles will be coming in or not. And lastly speaking, we have over the years have included way more diversity in the roles, and we have observed that trend. If anyone actually takes some time out to read our placement reports as well, you will actually see over the years that domination has kind of reduced and it's becoming more diverse. I would say even starting from my year, I think I recall quite a lot of finance companies coming in spite of what Shivang said being a smaller batch size. So I mean that kind of gives that idea that even if there are few enthusiasts, you actually have opportunities to go and convert certain things. So yeah, even in the GenMan case, of course there are opportunities. Depending on the factors, it might be few or a lot of companies coming in. So that obviously will depend on factors.
But tell me, if somebody is interested, is keen in marketing domain, and is very sure that okay, marketing domain is for me, or maybe some other such domains. Yeah. So what should that person be doing then? I mean, do you think SJMSOM should not be then on that list? I mean, if they have other options, say maybe an MDI Gurgaon. Yeah. Like, if they're getting calls from MDI Gurgaon, and then, they know that they want to get into marketing.
Right, I
That's
think
something,
people right now who are opting for colleges are quite smart in this regard. I mean, even for me, I mean, I researched quite a bit as to which colleges offer what kind of placements. So yeah, of course, I would not go ahead and boast that SJMSOM offers a flurry of marketing opportunities.
Correct.
That
Yeah.
surely isn't the case. So you look at your options and you are a better judge of whether the placement reports of those colleges, the companies do better justice than SJMSOM in that case.
Right.
So like for me, I personally thought SJMSOM was my best convert, and I
Right.
came here depending on, and I stuck to my decision. So if you think
And
that
I think, yeah, if you see like the last 5 placement reports
Exactly.
of any B schools, you can overall see the average, the domains that then one can always
you can get a pretty
choose.
clear. It's very
Correct,
transparent
yeah.
nowadays. You can get a pretty clear understanding. So once you
Right.
have all the calls in your hand, you can just judge based on whatever you want,
Yeah.
where you want to land up at.
Okay, that brings me to that question: is why SJMSOM? Amartya, can you answer this? Why SJMSOM? For you, what was why SJMSOM? Rishika also, why SJMSOM? Yeah.
The reason I chose SJMSOM was because it was one of the best converts that I had, of course,
Okay.
and also that I was pretty clear that I wanted to work in the operations domain as well. Sometimes it is not just about what your degree is or what you're interested in, but a lot of other factors like your family background and what kind of work your parents do, your uncles and aunts do. It really influences your decision. And I come from a family wherein most people work in operations, so there is a lot of support that I will get if I work in that. I've seen them work for it in such a long time. So even though I am a fresher and I didn't have much work experience, I was pretty clear that I wanted to do operations as well. And if it was operations that I was looking at, then SJMSOM was by far my best convert that I wanted to do.
And you were not thinking about SPJMR or NITI, which is now IIM Mumbai, no? Because operations, yeah, and they're all in Bombay and Mumbai.
The options were there, that's true. But as you will find out, as most people here would also know, that a lot of people, the very important decision that a lot of people make is the one between now IIM Mumbai and SJMSOM, which a lot of people will have to make. One that I did as well. But like Abhishek said, the data is all pretty clear these days. You can look at the placement reports. You can find out what kind of companies, even specific company names that come to each and every one of these colleges.
Correct.
So you just take a quick look, you compare them side by side. Not very difficult to find out which kind of companies you are personally aiming towards. Then a few other factors to consider for the aspirants would be the batch size. You want a larger batch size. That means more networking and more people to meet. Or do you want a smaller batch size, which means that the placements will be significantly easier. So these are the things that you consider, and by making these decisions, you come to a final call. It might be difficult to choose between 2 or 3 colleges at that point of time, but again, if you take these things very rationally and take it in a very, very direct approach by comparing the specific companies and the numbers, I think your best convert becomes significantly clearer to you over time. Aside from this, if there is a direct comparison that you want to make, I think Rishika can talk a little more about that.
Yeah, Rishika.
Yeah, so I had
by the way, just a minute. Were any of you asked if which all are the other B schools that you guys have got calls from? Did anybody ask? So okay, so at SJMSOM also, because there are some B schools they don't ask at all. And then there are B schools who ask, and they want to know, why are you choosing this one and why are you choosing that one? So SJMSOM also asks, is it? Okay. Yeah. Rishika, tell me, why SJMSOM?
Okay.
Compared to all these other,
Yeah. I had a similar experience. I had multiple offers from different colleges, and I even chose one of them. But when I got a convert from SJMSOM, and as I had a work experience in operations, I wanted to continue in that only. And I realized that a good option for me would be SJMSOM, considering the operations domain, the smaller batch size, and also the IIT brand, because it adds something to the CV.
Absolutely.
Apart from that, I also wanted to leverage the ecosystem that we have here, because there are people from SIGN, that is the entrepreneurship cell in IIT Bombay. And if I was interested into entrepreneurship, I wanted to start something of my own, this would be a better option for me, because I could leverage that facility here. So that is why I chose SJMSOM over any other college.
So yeah, so everybody should remember to also have this answer for for any B school for that matter, because this question might be asked. Like, why? Okay, before we wrap up, can we see some glimpse from the campus?
So this is one of the mornings. We went for the badminton, just the batch, and we do such things very regularly. And we go for basketball, we go for badminton, we go for table tennis, and this is generally after the internship phase of our MBA. Then
nice.
This is the
nice.
monsoon video of the campus. It is very beautiful in the monsoon.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I mean, Mumbai you're talking about. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah. As long as you have to stay inside the campus and you don't have to venture out on the roads. Yeah, it's always very nice.
Right. So this is the Hiranandani view from the hostel 10 of the campus, and this is around 7 a.m. in the morning. So you can see the canopy, the weather, and it was really cool and beautiful in the morning. And this is just okay. So as I mentioned that we organize events.
Yes.
So this is just one of the after party of the organizers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this picture is from, I think, our farewell party that our juniors threw us.
Yeah.
2 batches of SOM together. So we went out partying. Thanks for the gift party.
That's like a pretty big batch, it seems like. There's like a lot of heads.
So these are 2 batches. 2 entire batches.
Okay.
So I think 200 odd people.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, how come the batch is so huge? Yeah.
Yes, and there's this other one. It's from a festival day, like you mentioned. So all of us are in.
I can't see any.
Oh, just a second.
Yeah, I think you have to reshare that image. Yeah.
So is it visible now?
Yeah. Which festival is this from?
So that I need to think. It was some cultural day. I cannot remember. So even during Navratri, we had this dress code thing going on the 9 days of the festival. There are 9 specific colors.
Correct.
People have to dress up accordingly.
So this was a small salsa night that we had in our
very
campus.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. The final tips before we wrap up. So maybe a cat tip from Rishika and Amartya. Okay, so Rishika and Amartya, please give a cat tip each. And because right now, so give a cat tip from now till the 26th November. Yeah, for the CAT aspirants for 2023. And Shivang and Abhishek, if you guys can give tips on personal interview, how to prepare for it. As in general, how do you prepare? Obviously, you were saying since SJMSOM is not interested in current affairs, but what if it is? So, how do you prepare anyway? Yeah, one tip each. Shivang and then Abhishek. Yeah, Rishika, CAT.
Okay, as we are into October right now, I'm assuming people would be.
It's mid-October today. Yeah.
Yes. So I think students would be giving multiple mocks.
Yes.
They will be judging their preparation and they will be revising the syllabus that they have covered till now. So I think the one tip that I would like to give, and I have personally faced this, is the low mock scores. So people, students, generally, they are very demotivated once they get a low mock score, and sometimes you get a negative score in a section. And just to give a tip, just don't be disheartened by those scores. These are just mocks and not the real CAT. And you don't know what is going to happen on the D-Day with you.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
I even personally faced this when in the November, I gave some mocks, I think 3 or 4 mocks, and my scores were not good. And in one section, I got a negative score and I was so demotivated by it. But my parents, they kept me motivated of giving the CAT at least. Just sit
Correct.
for the exam. Yes. And somehow it turned out well. So it doesn't really depend on the mock scores, and don't be disheartened by them. Just
Correct.
believe in yourself, believe in your preparation, and just sit for the exam, and everything will fall into place.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Amartya. What tip?
Well, I just have two things to say. Firstly, based on of what Rishika said, I also faced some of those problems where the mocks were going very great, but towards the beginning of November, 1 or 2 times I got really low scores, and the fear that sets in is that even though this is only 1 or 2 times, what if it happens on the day of the CAT exam? I would just like to say is that please don't get demotivated. If you want, what helped me was just taking an average of all the scores that I've done, like weighted average of all the scores that I've done. And it really put me into perspective that yes, I'm not always getting bad marks. And secondly, once you are there in the CAT examination hall, you get a lot of confidence. And with everyone else there with you, it's not like you get overwhelmed and the CAT exam goes badly. Generally, from all my friends' perspective, it's been quite the opposite. If you go to the exam hall, you see more people around you, the environment is better, there are no distractions, and you will do better. And the second and most important thing that helped me during the preparation was to realize that the weightage for each and every topic is not the same. If you understand that, your preparation becomes a lot more effective. For example, PNCs and modern math was something that I seriously struggled with while preparing for my CAT exam. But as soon as I realized that the maximum number of questions that I saw coming in a CAT paper from PNC or modern math were barely 2 questions, I decided to not give so much time towards modern math and actually towards sections which have questions, 4, 5, 6 questions coming from it, like basic algebra, like all the other, like time series questions, all of those things. So just realize which topics have a higher weightage and focus more on them. That will help you gain more marks.
Okay. Yeah. Abhishek, one PI tip, and Shivang, one PI tip.
So for me, I would say that it's imperative for you to eventually start after your CAT is done. Number one, the timing of it. Post that, it all depends on whether you have built a very credible flow of your story. What I mean by that is you have to have a clarity of thought when you're presenting yourself to an interview. And presenting yourself, I mean that presenting your journey, like from whether you're a work ex person, whether you're a fresher person, where you're going for an operations interview, or whichever college it is, they are eventually judging you on your merit. So if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your backstory as to why you went for an MBA, so the questions like why MBA, for example, those parts of it, then honestly speaking, if the interviewer would think that if the person is not confident about himself or herself, then why should I be trusting on that person to take in my institute and carry the legacy forward? So eventually what Shivang can take up later and probably give more insights into the rest. But my idea is a student should always be thinking as to why an interview should be selecting me. So you are representing eventually an institute, irrespective of all the factors like placements and all, fair enough. But you're eventually going there to be selected everywhere. All the panelists who are sitting there want to select you. They're not there to reject you. So you have to think that I have to give them factors to select me. So if I don't give them anything that is there in myself to reject, then I don't think anyone would look at me like that, right? So just think of that and that kind of have that kind of a mindset and be proactive in your preparations, current affairs, academics. Make sure it's holistic in nature, and I think rest Shivang can probably address.
Right. Yeah, Shivang, one tip quickly. Yeah.
Yes. So one thing appeared for mock PIs as well. You get really good tips from people. That helps a lot. Know your profile. Whatever you talk about in your introduction, know it well. Know the college well, institute well you're applying for, and
Yeah.
at least have a bare minimum grasp of the international affairs and the domestic affairs that are happening.
Correct.
That someone should know. As of now, the Israel-Hamas conflict, the
Yeah,
problems,
exactly.
the international relations with Canada. This is something every individual should be aware of. Let alone you don't know who won which medal in Asian Games. That's a very different
Yeah.
thing. But if you don't know such basic
Yeah.
things, it would be a problem. And one thing that
Correct.
has always helped me sail my boat is, if not this, it's not the end of the world. So if I don't
Yes,
get through, then what? I have a bigger
absolutely.
life ahead. I'll figure out something. If not this, something else. So I go in with an attitude to get selected, to give my best. But mostly I had this feeling I'll not make it through, and luckily things have
Yeah.
worked out.
Yeah, thanks, Shivang. Yeah, all right. Okay, great. Thanks a lot for attending, dear attendees. And I would like to give my special thanks to Shivang Rastogi, Rishika Jan, Amartya, and Abhishek Das. Thank you so much for being here and giving us insights about SJMSOM IIT Bombay and what all they can expect once they get into that B school. So it's a very aspirational video and aspirational session it was. Thank you so much for all the insights. Thank you.